Welcome into Game Changers. We are in Tampa Bay, Florida. We're under the bridge, avoiding the weather.
I feel like a troll under this bridge, huh?
I know.
The heck?
This is a new one, certainly for us.
Yeah.
Mike Cunio, Kimbo Camper, Steve Goldstein. Goldie, you don't have a mic, so you have to be nice, and you'll get.
I'm always nice to you, Mike.
Okay, then
Come
you
on,
get
go ahead, Buck. Come on.
Yeah.
You go. There you go.
Coming by
There we
here,
go.
it's great.
No.
On location.
We are obviously here
This
in
gentleman
Tampa.
here, we might have to ask you a question. We're not gonna, but we might.
We're here in Tampa, yes, for the Bucs and Dolphins final preseason game of the season, but there was some obvious big Dolphins news this week that came up when Tua Tagovailoa held another interview in which Brian Flores, the Dolphins' old coach, pops up. Guys, it feels like we keep doing this same conversation, the same topic every year since Flo has been gone. I don't know why we keep doing these. But, Bo, are you kind of over the Flo and Tua drama?
I am, and I was a little surprised. And I'll tell you why I was surprised. Not because the message he delivered, because he feels his way, and Brian feels his way. But he just came off of a game where he was spectacular.
Yeah.
And he got all this momentum going and all good talk. And all of a sudden, it's like you throw a monkey wrench in there that doesn't need to be there at that time. You should have said it earlier because, this team, I remember coming out of the game last week, guys. Didn't you feel really great about the team? He 5 for 5, gets the touchdown and everything, and everyone's starting to believe in him. And then all of a sudden he digs back in, which, look, the guy, the host asked over and over and over, and then he finally answered it. But I just felt that, he could say what he wanted, but I just didn't think that was appropriate timing for where the season is right now.
Yeah, I think I'm over just looking back with this.
Because how many people have talked to him this week about how well he played last week?
Right.
They're all talking about that stuff.
Yeah, Goldie, what do you think?
I got a different take on it. At first, I thought what you thought, Bo.
Yeah.
Why is this coming up again? I think it's Tua really coming out of his shell. He's been more vocal in camp. That's from the football standpoint. You absolutely love that. And I'm guessing he's been sitting on this for years. He's got his contract. He's playing great. The guys believe in him. We've seen a different guy. You said it, Bo. We've seen a different person. And I think he's been sitting on. He goes, you know what? Here's another thing that I've always had inside that I'm just going to get out this way. Now, I thought it was really classy on the other side, the way Brian Flores handled it. Brian Flores almost said, yeah, I did it, and I kind of apologized, and I'm looking at myself, and how can I be better? That was pretty classy, but by Flo.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm glad, and I hope that this is put to bed, because I think there's so many positives with this team, with head coach Mike McDaniel, with Tua, that I think that we can stop looking back at the Flores era.
Look, I agree with you. I agree 100% with you that he feels like now he's that man that can say whatever he wants to say. Like I said on the broadcast, it's Mike's the coach, but this is Tua's team. And so he feels that way. So he's got the bravado to do that. I just felt like the timing, especially after what he did in that game, it just kind of irked me a little bit.
Yeah, it was certainly a little odd. By the way, Mike McDaniel also making headlines for the long hair. Bo, this is one of the first questions you asked of this preseason.
First production, first thing I said, hey, growing the hair out a little bit, right? Because, and look, and not only did he grow it up, but I think he's got some gel in there or something, doesn't he? He got a little something in there that makes it a little shiny and everything.
Yeah.
Got the beard's growing out a little bit more. But hey,
talk about feeling more and more comfortable in year 3. I mean, he admits, he's like, we're letting it grow. We're letting it grow. So it's very cool to see. All right, still to come here on Game Changers. These guys got to interview the man himself last week, Stephen Ross, Dolphins owner. He made some headlines of his own. We're going to get into the roster talk of this team.
His hair looked pretty good, too. We're going to talk about Tua. I'm talking about Mike. Stephen's hair looked pretty good.
When you're a billionaire, you got all the resources in the world.
You know, Cunio.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Game Changers coming back. We'll talk about this roster and are they truly Super Bowl contenders? Welcome back to Game Changers, another road edition. We've done these everywhere. It seems like Kansas City, Edmonton, throw Tampa Bay into the mix. Yes, Mike.
I did in Frankfurt. I was in.
That's right.
We
went international with you.
You're right. I didn't bring my passport for that one.
Kimbo Camper, Steve Goldstein, Mike Cunio back with you here for segment 2 of Game Changers. And guys, last week you got to interview the owner of the Miami Dolphins, Stephen Ross, and he basically said, yeah, look, if this team stays healthy, Goldie, we can be Super Bowl contenders. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC, though. This is a gauntlet. Do you think the Dolphins and any team really in the AFC have the toughest road to the Super Bowl, in terms of AFC versus NFC?
Well, I think it is just because of the quarterbacks. You're going to have to beat one or two of Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, maybe Aaron Rodgers if it's 40 and 41, he's healthy, Burrow, Jackson, Mahomes, the list goes on and on. So it is a brutally tough road, but I thought it was terrific by Stephen Ross because he has put a lot of money into this. He spent a ton of money on the big three, redoing those contracts and locking those guys in, and they made the playoffs 2 straight years, and they were banged up at the end of the year. So I thought he was on the money by saying if we're healthy, he didn't say we're going to win it. He didn't say we're the favorite. We're a contender. They clearly are a contender.
Is contender the right word? Is that just the operative word like Goldie's saying?
I think it is, but you can whittle it down to, are they in the top 5? Are they top 5, 7? Where 7, 5, wherever you want to be. But I think they're right in there. I think they're in the ballpark, and I agree with him 100%. Look, Tua's happy, he got paid. Tyreek's happy, he got paid. Waddle's happy, he's got paid. And the way we've talked to Mike McDaniel over the course of this preseason in the games, he's very happy about this football team, the bravado that he's got when talking about this football team. But the other thing is they've all stood forward and say, look, we got to win when it gets tough. That's been the issue against them. And to a man that we've talked to, always brings it up. We've got to find a way to win that, and we're starting right now to get ourselves in the frame of mind where we can do that. I think that also brings it on. So this is a very talented football team. And, I was a little concerned with that defense, after losing Wilkins and Van Ginkel and those kind of guys. But I've seen pretty good stuff out of what we're seeing out of Anthony Weaver's defense in there. So I think on both sides of the ball, it's very talented. And so I think clearly they got to be one of the favorites.
Something you've mentioned a lot is winning the division, getting that home playoff game, and I'm right there with you. My concern with this team is because of the injuries on defense, can they get out to a fast start? Because I think they're going to be favored in at least their first 5, 6, 7 games, something like that. I think they need to stack up as many wins as possible to put themselves in a good position. If they get out to a slow start because of the injuries on defense, I'm very concerned about them actually winning the division. I think it's going to be tough.
Look, we did a show together when they brought out the schedule. I'm looking at that first 7 games. I said they can win 7 games.
You got them under. No, you got them under. You guaranteed it.
They can win 7 games.
Forget that.
They can win 7 games right out of the chute, and I still believe that because you talk about Mike McDaniel. We talked to him today. And he goes, it's like we've got a bunch of bulls ready to bust out of the gate. So I think they're going to come out smoking, especially on offense. If that defense can play as well as we think with Anthony Weaver, really the only, Seattle's they got to take a tough trip. They're going to get Buffalo the second game. Buffalo's still they just lost Matt Milano.
Right.
They lost Diggs. They're still trying to find their pace. They're going to be a good football team, but maybe you get them early when they're a little off kilter a little bit and get that done. To me, they can go until they beat Buffalo again in Week 8. I still feel confident in that.
Do you still feel confident?
Well, I don't look. The last 2 years they got off to a 3-0 start, and they were 8-3 and 9-3, and where to get them.
Right.
So I'm not so sure. I kind of disagree with you a little bit. I don't think the start is all that big of a deal. If you obviously you want to win the Buffalo game, you're going to win the division. You got 6 games in the division. You've got to win 4 or 5. 4 at minimum. You'd really like to win 5, and you got to beat Buffalo once. Easier to beat them Week 2 at home than it is in November in Buffalo. But I think this is a team now that's going to get better, particularly on defense with all the new players and the new scheme as the season goes on. And with them, it's all about how you finish. So I think they just need to put themselves in a position to be in the race. I mean, last year, look, at 9-3, we all thought it was over and done, and they had the division locked up. So, they lose a few early on. I don't think it's really the end of the world.
So the reason I harp on the beginning of the season is because those last 5, 6 games are all against either playoff teams from a year ago or you're playing the Jets twice in that last month and a half. It's hard to beat a team twice in that shorter span, I think, and they are division opponents. If Aaron Rodgers there, you have to give them the respect they're due. That's why I say they have to get off to that fast start.
To me, from a scheme-wise situation, I'll give you two things. The tight end position is going to be much better than it was last year, and I think look, all these guys are talking about. They're not talking about the beginning of the season. They're talking about what we have to do at the end of the season, which is important to me. And I think Mike McDaniel's going to lean a little bit more on that running game, a tough running game, to get this thing done. So I think their whole mentality of scheme-wise and what we need to do is right on point. So I'm with you. Look, if they will lose 1 or 2 in the beginning, but I think their focus is when we get into November, December, and January, that's where we've got to be at our best.
If I had the whiteboards here, I'd make you all decide. I know AFC East title, wild card, where would they fall? But we'll save that for another day. We got another week before the season. We won't waste everything now. All right. Now, football will be for real for the college ranks coming up, even though, preseason's wrapping up. But we're going international. Florida State taking on Georgia Tech this coming weekend to kick off the football season out in Ireland. I want to get the guys' thoughts on what they think of these international series in college sports. That's coming up next on Game Changers. Welcome back to Game Changers. Yes, we are in Tampa, just down the road from USF. Well, I believe these guys are getting a new football stadium, which is really cool.
Nice.
College football about to kick off in high gear. We're heading out to Dublin, Ireland. We're not, unfortunately. Would have loved to have gone to that game. Florida State, my alma mater, going up against Georgia Tech. And guys, I gotta ask, and you played college football.
Yeah.
What do you think of the international series? I think it's great for the NFL, but I'm kind of curious how you guys feel about it with college.
Well, I like it, and I particularly like this game because I think if you remember right, one of the first it was Notre Dame and Army or somebody played in the first game. So you got the Fighting Irish going to Ireland. So I kind of thought it was going to be a Notre Dame, opening season kind of a deal. But now they're mixing the teams around. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it in the first game. Because you know how college football is. Usually you're going to set up, a couple patsies early on so you can get your legs under you, the better teams. And I'm not sure what their opponent's going to be like or how good they are. But I think Florida State's got a bone to pick after last year.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be pretty fired up for it. But the travel now it's not that bad. Look, we used to go. We played Hawaii every year.
Yeah.
So it was like driving or flying across the Atlantic. Didn't bother us.
No. That's
I think party too
right.
much
I think
probably did.
I think that's the exception. But Goldie, if you're a college kid and you only get so many home games every year, and all of a sudden, we're going to go to Ireland, college kids can't really afford that. This is where I think the game suffers from a tradition standpoint, where we've already sucked out so much of the tradition in college football, and I think this is just another bit just to be a money grab.
Well, it is a money grab, 100%. Now, you're taking games off the campus. And as you say, it has the pageantry. You only get 5 or 6 home games a year. They're trying to generate revenue. I understand it. In general, I am not a fan of the games that aren't on campus.
Yeah.
I think it just adds. Now, look, they'll go to AT&T Stadium in Dallas, or they'll go to the new stadium, not so new anymore, in Vegas and play these games. And it kind of has a bigger game feel. But there's nothing like college football on the campuses. And I do think it loses a little bit of something, as Bo says. The first one being kind of a special game. It's like a week 0 game.
Right.
I could live with it a little bit more, but in general, I'm with you. I want to see college football on the campuses in general.
But the other thing, look what we've got now. We've got USC and UCLA going to play Ohio State. In Michigan, they're in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
We've got Stanford and Cal going out to play in the ACC. So these conferences, they're flying cross country back and forth multiple times now. So the travel doesn't bother me. But I'm with you. I do love the college because these college stadiums are iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times I'd go to some games just to be in a stadium that I've wanted to go to. So I agree with you on the stadium.
Yeah,
issue.
it's like if
Just
Georgia
lose a home
Tech.
game.
It's like if Georgia Tech upsets Florida State. Okay, if that happened at Georgia Tech,
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be seeing it. They'd be storming the field and all that stuff. So I think it loses a little bit of it. But hey, we're waxing nostalgic here. It's all about money. They're trying to raise the cash, and they're getting money for these games. They're going no matter where it is, no matter when it is. We know that. That's just reality.
Yeah, I have so many friends and family going to the Florida State game, and I'm looking at everyone, and I'm like, none of these people who are going are under the age of like 35 because no one
Kuno's
can
mad
afford it.
because if they were playing up in Tallahassee, he'd be
be
leaving
there.
here after the game and going up and watching it
Only-
at the Doak,
only
right?
like 3 more hours away. It's a short drive. I mean, you're going to Boone next week to App
Let's
State.
go.
What are games like in App State? I mean, we don't get that down here.
App State's amazing.
They got a great tradition, App
Kid
State.
Brewer Stadium, it's like 40,000. Every game is packed, beautiful in the mountains, and they're one of the great lesser teams out of that Sun Belt conference. So those games are a lot of fun. I've been to a few of them.
Yeah, I need you to storm the field if App State pulls off.
He would. I guarantee he'd be out there.
100%.
No
And by the way, shout out to Kendall Lamb, who went to App State and is he always wears the App State T-shirts underneath his Dolphin jersey.
Well, let's do a little admission time. Has anyone here ever rushed a court or a field after a big win?
I did in 1987 when Syracuse beat then defending national champions Penn State at the Carrier Dome 48-0. Everybody stormed the field. Syracuse actually went undefeated that year, 11-0-1, and made the Sugar Bowl. I did storm the field that game. Yeah.
Oh, look at you, Bo.
Yeah.
No, the only time
he's been on the field.
He was the guy that got stormed.
Right.
The only time I stormed it was the Heat court after they won the NBA NBA championship, only because we had a live shot. We had to,
you had to jump on.
Oh, so you were getting paid to storm the court. Okay.
Right.
The Hurricanes basketball team beat Duke. It was the Shane Larkin year. Is that really a big first run with Jim Larinaga as head coach? And me and my friends had some seats that were closer to the front, and you had no choice. It was either you go forward or you get run or you get run over. So that's my one storming the
that
court.
is great. Look, I know people get hurt sometimes, and it really shouldn't happen. But it really is one of the great things in college sports, no doubt.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go on a whole diatribe. I'm going to stop myself. Clemson, you got to stop doing it after every game. I know it's a tradition. I know it's right, but I mean, come on. Let's go. All right, we're going to wrap things up coming up on Game Changers. We're talking about the Dolphins' orange jersey and playlist. We're going to dissect these guys' playlist. That's coming up next. Welcome back to Game Changers. Dolphins training camp has wrapped up, but one of the fun things every summer is seeing who gets the orange jerseys from practice. I actually just did an interview with Duke Riley, which you can see in a pregame show, but I've seen his music pop up on some of the playlists, which I think is really cool that the players have kind of taken on his music. So it got us thinking, guys, if Kim Bokamper, by the way, Kim Bokamper, Steve Goldstein deserve the orange jersey for all the work you guys do.
Look at that.
So let's pretend you both have the orange jersey. And Bo, I'll start with you. If you had the orange jersey, what are the tunes we're hearing at practice?
Well, I can't go through the whole list because I forgot most of them, but I know what I do. This is like one of my favorites. That I don't know. Anybody ever heard this song here?
Is that Umbop?
Umbop from my friends, the Hanson, the Hanson boys. Yeah,
really?
My friends, the Hanson boys. Yeah, they're not my friends. I just
I
like the
thought
song.
you knew them.
No, I like the song. Though.
That's a good old song.
But I'll tell you.
That gets the juice flowing.
I got to tell you what. I'm a little embarrassed it's in my playlist, but it's one of those like when you're in your car by yourself and it comes on.
Feeling good?
Yeah, man. I'm
Sun
kind of
shining through.
bopping around a little bit.
Open the sunroof.
I don't know what else I got on there.
Let the wind blow through your mustache there.
I think I put a Tower of Power song in there from back in the 60s.
Who's Tower of Power?
Oh, come on, please.
Sing me something. I got no.
Flower Child.
Okay. All right, Goldie. Let's hear your playlist.
I like all music. So right now on the phone, there's always a little Jay-Z in there. Kind of gets me going a little bit. I will admit I'm a little bit of a Swiftie. I do like Taylor Swift. And one song we heard every day, regardless who had
I know you're going.
the orange jersey.
Can
Go
I guess?
ahead.
Can I get Shabuzi?
Shabuzi. That's it, man.
I knew
so I got him in there. The one song that he's got. Pretty much the one song.
Have you guys been disappointed by anyone's playlist out there at camp this
No,
year?
it's all been great. And Tua's was amazing the day he did it.
Tua's was good. Tua brought a little Hawaiian swing into it.
He did. It went a little old school.
A little old school.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, my favorite one was Zach Sealer. Because he's got that country twang going, and you got a little of the new stuff in there. But I kind of like the vibe that he threw out there with because it fits him. The guy's a big bear of a man.
Right.
It fits him.
Yeah. Rob Jones, by the way, he had a playlist, and I think Duke Riley was on there, but he snuck in some country.
Yeah.
I think that Middle Tennessee State.
Well, you know what?
Kind of got to him there.
What's happened with this thing, and this is serious, is that because Julian Hill said it, he was shocked that he got the orange jersey one day, and he's like, "There's actually a lot of pressure. The veterans want to know what's on the playlist, and it's actually pressure to come up with something. So everybody's got to put something in there for everyone. So you have to appeal to everyone. So you got a little rap, you got a little old school rap, you got a little country.
So
and
I
then,
wonder if the other guys know. I would. One thing we haven't seen is a song pop up and all of them start booing. Oh no, no.
Yeah, we haven't caught that.
Well, as McDaniel said, if you don't like the music, change the music.
That's it. Get the orange jersey. Practice better.
You got to earn the orange jersey. Was it Julian Hill who also mentioned that if you have the orange jersey on, it's just like a spotlight on you?
Yeah.
So now everyone's coming after you. So like film day after orange jersey is pretty rough because now you're getting everybody's best attempt.
Yeah, you stick out like a sore thumb. You make a bad play, and it's like twice as bad, right?
Did you guys do anything like this back in the day when you guys were playing with Shula? Was there any like practice motivation thing? Maybe an extra glass of water?
Yeah, he would take his boot and he would just.
You got to come back the next day.
I don't remember any music. I don't remember any music in our locker room, much less out in the practice field.
Was that just a Shula thing, or do you think
no,
that was?
no one was doing. Look, back then you couldn't go on your phone and get a playlist. You know, you would have had to bring a hi-fi out there.
Who brought their iPods out?
iPods. We didn't even have iPhones back then.
Now you had later in your career you had the Sony Walkman though. They came in like in the early 80s.
That was about in the third or fourth year of my career. They came out.
They
with
started
the
coming out with that with the.
That's when they had that little. That's when the first little video. And it was just little dots moving around on the thing. Yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah.
I don't remember any.
But we did. We had the latest technology. We had 2 payphones in our locker room. So
wow. Was that right next to the hook that you used to hang your clothes on
right,
for
right,
3
right.
years?
Nail.
The nail?
Well, everyone had a nail, so it was close to somebody's nail. It may not have been close to mine.
I can't believe that. That's such a great story. That's why you gotta listen to these guys during the games, because you hear great stories like that. I can't wait to hear what you guys are going to come up with this week as the Dolphins take on the Bucs, wrapping up the preseason. Don't worry, we'll do season predictions next week. We got plenty of time to get there, and hopefully we're talking about Florida State win after beating Georgia Tech overseas.
We'll give you that.
Okay,
we'll give you that one.
From Tampa, another road show. Mike Cugno, Steve Goldstein, Kim Bocamper, thanks for joining us here on Game Changers. Next week, I hope, and we should, be back in our lovely studio there at CBS Miami. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.